Hey, this is Lee, and I'm reporting on Jill Stein and Gary Johnson participating in the fourth presidential debate. It was held on PBS. It was moderated by Tavis Smiley, who used to be on the BET network, who also used to work with NPR. He has his own show on PBS, and he served as moderator in a three-part debate between Jill Stein and Gary Johnson. Um, Jill Stein is the nominee of the Green Party. Gary Johnson is the nominee of the Libertarian Party. They are the more grown-up versions, perhaps even the more ethical version of Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. This debate was insult, childish, and tantrum throwing free. It was a policy debate. If you are interested in policy and public affairs, political system, the future of our nation, it's good to hear Jill Stein and Gary Johnson discuss policy, domestic policy, foreign policy, and then economics, also climate, things like that. It was a three-part debate: domestic policy, foreign policy, and then the last third of the debate was questions from social media. So various people were able to participate. And there's a question of who won and who lost. If for those who like to keep track, the viewer is the one who wins. The electorate, the voter, the people who want to hear their issues, a multitude of issues, inside an hour and 15 minutes or something like that, they are the winners. With the other debates, we lost, other than Jill Stein inserting herself. And so this is Jill Stein's fourth presidential debate. She's quite good. I am pro Jill Stein. I have already cast my vote for Stein and Baraka at the top of the ticket. But it was interesting to hear Gary Johnson clarify the Libertarian Party. And so people were able to learn how the Libertarian Party contrasts to the Green Party on policies, the similarities where they converge, and then the dissimilarities where they diverge. I mean, people were relying on personality, saying, well, she's a nice person, he's a nice person. They don't get on my nerves, so I guess I'll vote for him, I'll vote for her. But in this debate, it was policy that was the dominant force. And so under domestic policy, they discussed minimum wage, gun control, gun rights, health care, national debt. Let's see. There was also Tavis Smiley questioned Gary Johnson not only on national debt, but also debt associated with the state of New Mexico, where Gary Johnson was previously a governor for 2 terms. And Gary Johnson responded with expletives. And then he stated what he stated. And I thought that was really a weird way to respond, but you know. And then Jill Stein brought up her Green New Deal as part of the domestic policy. They moved on to, and then affirmative action also was discussed in that section. They moved on to foreign policy. Tavis Smiley asked them both about Julian Assange and Edward Snowden, the perceptions of what they've been doing. The Trans-Pacific Partnership, each person's stance on Trans-Pacific Partnership. Jill Stein is opposed. Gary Johnson is for. Drone wars, terrorism, military interventions, things like this. Both Jill Stein and Gary Johnson are opposed to rampant military interventions. Specifically, Iraq, Afghanistan, Libya, Syria came up in the discussion. For those of you who had concerns about Gary Johnson's knowledge of foreign policy issues, I believe in a previous interview he was with another station, another time, another place. He was caught off guard. He's been since drilled on and disciplined on Syria. He's thoroughly versed, and you'll see that in the debate. Let's see, they talk about ISIS and ISIL. There's a question for Jill Stein about the CIA. Gary Johnson was questioned about Guantanamo Bay, Israel, Saudi Arabia, and how to deal with frenemies of the United States, allies who behave in non-ally like ways. And then also the concept of war crimes. Russia, Iran, and military defense spending also were included in the foreign policy discussion. And then after that, there were 30 minutes dedicated to questions from social media. So there was a lot packed in. For those of you who have been exhausted by viewing the Hillary Clinton, Donald Trump reality show, and it's caused a lot of strain and stress, it's because that's been intentional. This concept of psychological warfare is real, and that has been inflicted on the electorate, the voting electorate, the infliction of fear, anger, contempt, disgust. These are negative emotions coming from these campaigns and then being dumped on the viewer. If you want to actually see what America could and should become, discussions of issues important to the average American, this viewing of this debate between Gary Johnson and Jill Stein is likely what the doctor ordered. We deserve much better than what we've been shown this election season. Thanks to Tavis Smiley, Jill Stein, Gary Johnson, the viewer is treated with respect. And so not only I think is the viewer the winner, maybe Tavis Smiley is a winner too, because he moderated very well. He wasn't partial or biased to one candidate or the other. The series of questions that he asked were intelligent and designed to elicit intelligent responses. And so I say, well done to Tavis Smiley. I'll leave a link to that fourth and last and final, perhaps, presidential debate. For those of you who are still on the fence, who just cannot seem to cast your vote for either Hillary Clinton or Donald Trump, you want something better, you want something more, you feel you deserve more, and I believe that you do, because I know I did, and that's why I voted for Jill Stein. But yes, there are options, and by viewing this debate, you will become very well versed and educated on what those options are. Good luck.